And on the topic of the trend where it's like, you look so much happier, and the response is like, thanks, I blank. I saw this video that was like, you look so much happier. And the response was, thanks, I stopped dating black men. Here she ate that up. And
hey, where the bitches at? It's supposed to be titties. Where the fucking titties and the bitches?
Miss, you are very pretty, okay? You're very pretty, and I've only seen this one clip. I purposely haven't gone to look at your page or whatnot. You know, I don't know what'll be there or what I'll find. You know, if it says that you're a member of the alternative community, or if if you're an influencer of some sort, just a regular woman, if you have a bunch of thirst traps there or nothing, or just a bunch of talking headshots, there's no shortage of that shit. Any of the shit I just mentioned, okay? You're a very pretty woman and shit, but I gotta tell you, like, from my personal, my feelings about things as the elder statesman of the supposed community, I'm a black man, okay? I don't give a fuck who you date, okay? I don't care. Most of the guys that's probably in your spirit don't give a fuck either and shit. They're just waiting for their turn. Do you understand what that means? They're waiting for their turn, the opportunity to be with you in a sexual manner, okay? And I want to mince words and shit. I'm trying not to be crass, but I might become crass before the end of this commentary or whatnot. I want to tell you that I don't care who you are fucking, okay? No one cares. They would like an opportunity to fuck you because you're attractive and shit, okay? You're an attractive woman and shit, but you offer nothing else and shit, okay? It doesn't matter your reason or any of that crap, because ultimately you guys choose who to lay down with, okay? You choose who you fuck. You choose is what you do during the sexual encounter, and you know that you can spin the block and get somebody in trouble and shit if you feel a certain way, if your ego is bruised, if he don't call you, if he don't do this and that and the other. I mean, this is not that. I'm just tired of listening to women talking shit, and I chose you because you're attractive, right? I chose you because I find you conventionally attractive and shit. And I want to tell you that, like, I wouldn't care, why you weren't dating black men or anything. If you tell me that, I would find it amusing, okay? I've always found it amusing, even when I was a senior in high school in 1987 and shit. And I had this woman who had a face like a duck, that had an okay body, a mid body. She told me she didn't date black guys anymore. Right? She just told me she looked like a fucking duck, like from DuckTales. Okay? She had a nice body. Okay? She told me she didn't date black dudes, and I just laughed. And we laughed together. We had a joke about it. While I had my arm around her waist, and she was, signing. She was writing her number in my yearbook and shit. I'm non-select. Right? I'm non-select. That's what they told me and shit. Like one of the 80s kind of nerd or some shit. I guess that's the box they had me in. I was self-aware all this time. And I'm just telling you, as a self-aware person, even in my 20s and 30s and part of my 40s and shit. In my 40s, I wouldn't have fucked with you. Okay? Because I recognize that it's a sunk cost fallacy entertaining you and shit. Sometimes I like to ask attractive women control questions. That's what they call control questions and shit. Like, sometimes police do it to assess somebody's mental capacity and shit. I learned this from law enforcement and shit, so I know when someone was doing it to me and shit. A couple of years ago, 6 years ago, one of my siblings was trying that shit with me, and I thought it was humorous and shit. I was like, man, she's really going there, and I do the same with you. And your assertion that you don't date black men anymore. It's your preference. It's your box. Your vagina, your pussy. All right, that's your shit. It ain't my shit. It's common sense. That's your body part that you choose to do whatever. I assume that's what you're talking about. You're not talking about making any kind of organic connection with any potential partners, regardless of what they look like, and along the lines of your preference. You're dehumanizing the men that you prefer sexually and otherwise and shit by saying this shit to black men. All right, do you understand that shit? Do you understand why I would say the things I've said to you? I find you attractive. I would, if I thought I could, I'd ram the shit out of you. I'd bang you. Okay? it, why is it? Why is that? Why is that hard? Why is that hard for you to understand? Because you guys engage in sign language and shit. Now you want to do the acronym. Okay, everybody knows the fucking acronym. Maybe I'll post it at some point in this video. That acronym. Okay, you know, like what do you want us to feel? Like, how do you want us to feel about a complete stranger sitting on social media in her fucking car telling us that she doesn't date black men and shit? A conventionally attractive woman and shit. I give you that much and shit. Most of the women that say this stuff are non-select, right? That nobody really wants them and shit. Even us black men who have the ability to compartmentalize you women based on attributes that you have physically and shit, or maybe your behavior and shit is one of the reasons, if you guys have to know. It's one of the reasons you see a number of black men, excuse me, with large white women, all right? Because that's where the wall stops with you guys. You don't see any other races or anything, but you do come out and attack when you perceive that we are getting any modicum of happiness or mental clarity and moderation in our lives, our personal lives that have nothing to do with you. Right? We're not put on earth with some woman's name etched on the back of her next, or a barcode. We're not here to please you or help you get over your issues and everything. It's a choice. It's an organic choice based on human interaction and whatnot that you've made toxic, okay, and a bad insurance risk, for lack of a better term and shit. It's hard talking to you goddamn women and shit. I like to come up to you and say hello and all this shit. And you could just say you're not interested, but you guys go the extra mile and shit, being out of pocket verbally and otherwise and shit, And you don't learn nothing. You get worse every fucking year, okay? Almost every moment and shit. And you teach your daughters and granddaughters and nieces to be even more egregious. They take the ball and run with it. And what do we have? We have what we have here. A very sad, performative, depressed, attractive woman, eventually attractive, sitting in a car making a declarative statement that no one cares about. Because the only thing they think when they see is that, man, I wonder what the rest of her looks like. And, and she has a fat ass. I wonder what she looks like bent over and shit. Does this upset you? Yes, it should upset you and shit. And it just as it upsets men to hear this bullshit 24/7 on a nonstop loop. It's part of the continued social engineering that you guys are doing yourself. I don't even feel like the minority majority is interested in this anymore. We've gone so far past out in the grain there that I don't think that the people that initiated this social engineering programs need to act anymore. Shit is self-sustaining. And what is fucking up the game and shit, and why you're upset is that men are finding that they don't need to engage in this nonsense. Okay, they don't need to engage you verbally or otherwise and shit. Not even a lot of us at this point, we won't even look at your ass twice. We'll see you coming and look the other fucking way because we know it's a bunch of bullshit. Okay, it's a bunch of bullshit. You guys are full of shit. Okay, you're full of shit. You offer nothing but drama and chaos and shit. Okay, what is the consolation prize? Some pussy that somebody else had and shit. You can't turn into a virgin every time you have sex and shit. What's the use, man? What is your value and shit? After listening to your declarative statement, what is your fucking value to anybody that meets you? Whether they have money or not, or whether they're attractive or not, whether they're 6 feet tall or not, whether they have a pipe wrench down there in their pants or not. What are they? What is your purpose? What do I gain from listening to your preference? What do I gain from being in your presence and shit? If I'm not having sexual intercourse with you, oh shit, I know how it sounds, and I could be branded a misogynist, anarchist. It's okay. It's okay. I'm 56. Okay, I've had a lot of partners, and I've had quite a number of women that look like you. Very early in my mid-adult life and shit, okay? It was no big deal. I figured out, the secret of the bullshit was that if you really didn't care, women would come up to you, in droves. I've had attractive women coming at me and shit. I've been shocked by it. Like, shocked. I grew up non-select, right? On the south side of Chicago. I was verbally and physically and mentally tortured and shit, spiritually too, and shit, a number of times by goddamn women and shit. It didn't change me as a person. It didn't add anything. It didn't take anything away and shit because, through that whole time, I was only in love with one woman for a very long time and shit. And I feel fortunate, I could take something away from that toxic, codependent, shitty ass, criminally malfeasant relationship. I could take one thing away and shit. It made me a better person. It changed my life. It made me able to interact with women in a more organic and honest way and shit, and be completely honest and shit. I don't feel that I've lied to a woman since that first fucking relationship and whatnot. The only reason that I had lied to that woman about anything in life was because I hated seeing her upset. I hated it. Okay? I had no guidance in the home. My father was present and shit, but checked out. He was doing him and shit. He had some obligations that eventually led to the downfall of our family when he prioritized the wrong progeny. I'm gonna put it that way. Right? And we have to consider these things as men and shit. And when we hear what you say, it makes it easier for us to, weed you out and shit. It's cool that you deal yourself out of dealing with us. We ask that you just not come back. Do not come back to the black community if it doesn't work out for you. Keep looking for men all over the planet. Just keep going and shit. Don't look back and shit. I want you to find what you're looking for out there. I don't particularly care. I told you, what as far as I can see is just a sexual object and shit. Right? And you don't deserve that from anybody. But I'm man enough to tell you that to your motherfucking face. That is the only use I would have for you after listening to that bullshit came out of your mouth and shit. There's no way I'm gonna do telemarketing and convince you that you should come with me and shit because of my melanin content or anything I have, any wealth that I have. If I was a billionaire tomorrow, I think that I would be alone and shit because I can't stand the thought of paying a woman for her affection, paying her to be in my spirit. I'd rather be alone and die alone, dead, and disperse all of my wealth and the resources to people that actually need it, because good people deserve to have their faith rewarded and shit. Yes, that is a quote, right, from a fucking Christopher Nolan movie, but it's the basis of how I feel, stemming from that very first relationship that I had and shit that I should have never been in the first place. Right? So I was in the shit. It ain't going away no time soon and shit. It stays with me my whole fucking life since I was 14. Right? Since I was fucking 14. Right? Stays in that, those lessons stay with me. And it makes me man enough to tell you that, you have no intrinsic value to me outside of a sexual encounter. Okay? That I would gladly take and shit if, during better times and shit, okay? I hope you find what you're looking for outside of this supposed community that doesn't exist because you guys run it. You guys have run this shit into the ground. You've created the men that you complain and bitch about every day on social media. You did that. When are you guys gonna take responsibility for what you did to destroy this fucking community and make the men and solve it in your opinion? Okay? When are you gonna take responsibility? You raised these men. You ran these men's fathers out of the house. You picked the fucked up men, whatever their lifestyles were, whatever malfeasant sexual attitudes they had and shit, behaviors. You picked those guys. Okay, it's like I said, it's your box, it's your vagina, it's your pussy, right? That shit belong to you. Okay, and I always think about that shit. One of the things my first ever partner said to me one time was that she wished that she had my penis and I had her. We could switch our sexual organs so that she could be sexually irresponsible with me and shit. I understood what she was saying. I felt bad. I felt like I had done something wrong. I was like 19. I felt like I had done something wrong and shit. But then I thought, like, hey, I know I'm gonna have a fucking kid or something, fuck up and shit. And I want to have a future. I'll make sure, I'll take steps to make sure, that doesn't happen. Shit. All right. That's how I feel about it as a man and shit. I could tell you that to your motherfucking face, and still want to hit your shit. Okay. Just being honest here. Like, what do you hope to gain by saying this shit? It's your fucking preference. Nobody needs to know. You could be sitting here talking about some other shit, just smiling and shit. It's a free fucking country and shit. So I'm free to espouse my opinion based on your hateful rhetoric and shit towards black men and shit who've done nothing to you. The bulk of which you will never know in your fucking life and shit. And if you end up with a black man after all you've done and said, then I want you to think about this fucking video and know that I'll be somewhere laughing my motherfucking ass off. Bitch.
The Black Patriarchy. A non-existent group of fictional black male power brokers not discredited, erroneously jailed or outright killed by the minority majority who look the other way as they work tirelessly to shame, oppress, and outright take out the altruistic black female populace of the honorable democratic United States of America. 3K's inset bitches. These evil wealthy members of the black patriarchy are the sole reason for all the ills of the black community, walking, talking, holding down jobs, and doing everything up to and including giving their very lives in service to their baby mamas and baby's motherfucking kids. Their motto that strikes fear into the hearts of black women everywhere: bitches ain't shit but hoes and tricks.